Welcome to this short video on improving communication skills in your organization. In this video, we will talk about the importance of good communication in your organization. To communicate effectively, you need to be good at active listening, message delivery, and asking for feedback. In this video, we will discuss the following techniques for effective communication in detail. Adapt the message to your audience. Prepare for the message delivery. Be authentic when communicating. Be enthusiastic and engaged when speaking. Manage nonverbal signals to control the message. Practice active listening. Handle conflict respectfully. Look at the styling of your message and focus on specific topics. We hope that these tips can add to the communication skill set in your organization. Adapt the message to your audience. Communication can be much more effective when you know exactly who the target audience is that you are talking to and what their communication preferences are. Researching your target audience is a very important aspect when it comes to addressing them with products and services. Before you send an email, be sure to identify who it is you're trying to reach and that you understand their communication style. Your message will have a better chance of being understood if you understand your audience well. Once you know and understand your audience, you can start to find common ground with them and you can tailor your message to let them know why and how your organization is important to them. To better understand the communication style of your audience, you can ask yourself these questions. What is their typical communication style? What are their preferred methods of communication? What do they value the most in communication, and what kind of communication or messaging do they find annoying? How to prepare to deliver a message effectively. You can't expect someone to pay attention to your message if you don't prepare for the message delivery. If you're expecting to receive a message from a manager or executive, make sure you have your A game on. If someone on your team has a message from the front desk or higher up, you'd better be ready to focus on them. If you're expecting to deliver a message to a team member, make sure you're in a quiet room with no interruptions. Make sure you're wearing headphones if you're trying to focus. If someone is interrupting you, try to politely ask them to wait a few seconds until you're done with the message you're delivering. Sometimes when you have distractions, it can influence your reply to a customer. You can get sidetracked and deliver the wrong information. Always be sure that you are prepared for any messages going out or being received. Preparation is one of the best tools to keep at hand in any situation in an organization. Be authentic as you communicate. Authentic communication is when you're being honest with yourself as well as the person or audience that you're communicating with. People can, more often than not, see through any facade that someone is trying to put up in their communication. If you expect others to trust, respect, and understand you it is important to be honest and authentic when you communicate with them. Honesty is always the best policy, especially when it comes to business. It is important not to sugarcoat facts if it's something that can help a customer or team member in the future. There is always the risk that honest communication may offend or upset someone. If this happens, make sure that you try to explain to them the reason behind your honesty and how it might, for example, help them in the future or change things for the better. When your communication is authentic, you'll feel more confident in your communication skills and those around you will feel more engaged and connected. Being authentic doesn't mean you have to say everything you're thinking, but it does mean that you don't hold back on communicating the whole truth. Be enthusiastic and engaged when speaking. When someone is enthusiastic and engaged while delivering a message, it can affect the receiver's perception of the message significantly. When your audience sees that you are invested in the message that you are delivering to them, it shows them that you understand and believe in the ideas, products, or services that you are communicating to them about, and encourages them to trust you. If they see that you are passionate about the message you are delivering, it will likely help them to also believe in and support your ideas and suggestions. On the other hand, as we all know, when someone talks to you or tries to sell you a product or service without any enthusiasm, it can lead to you not wanting to pursue this product or service. Regardless of who you are communicating with, we are all human. Showing your audience that you are a human with emotions makes it easier for them to relate to you and to believe that you care and can be trusted. Manage nonverbal signals to control the message. When trying to communicate effectively, it can be important to also note and manage the nonverbal signals you are sending out to your audience. Nonverbal signals refers to the messages that you communicate through your actions and body language. These nonverbal signals can be very important in any business or personal conversation that you might have. Imagine trying to convince them to try a service that you are eager for them to use, but standing dead still and showing no emotion. They are not going to be convinced that this is the best service for them. Not if you aren't showing any enthusiasm with regards to this service. Now imagine that same conversation, but you are using hand signals and changes your tone of voice to tell this person about the service you would like them to try. This version of the conversation will be much more engaging and likely to capture the attention and interest of the other person. It is important to remember that nonverbal signals can be just as essential in face-to-face conversations as the actual words you are using and, when used correctly, can make for much more engaging communication. Practice active listening when people communicate with you. When someone is trying to communicate with you, the expectation is that you are actively listening to them. Active listening shows the other person that you respect them and value what they have to say. When, however, someone is trying to communicate with you, and you keep on looking elsewhere or your focus is not with that person, it shows them that you are not really interested in what they have to say. That can often lead to them labeling you as rude and can place a barrier in the way of your communication stream. When you are actively listening to someone, it means that you are taking in every bit of information communicated to you. This can in turn help you to understand them better, solve problems more efficiently, and build a strong foundation of mutual respect for effective communication going forward. Handle conflicts respectfully. Conflict is an inevitable occurrence in any organization. Knowing how to communicate when conflict arises is therefore an essential skill to learn. Always try to handle conflict, from anyone, inside or outside your organization, with a sense of calm professionalism and mutual respect, and never address conflict when you are upset or impatient. Rather allow everyone involved to cool off and think about the situation and what they would like to communicate. Then, when you do regroup to communicate, try to resolve the issue in the best, quickest, and friendliest manner possible. Pay attention to the styling of your message. One important thing to keep in mind when you're preparing to communicate a message, is the style of the message. There are many different styles of communication, and you want to be sure to pick a style that matches the tone and intention of your message. For example, you would not want a business email to a valuable client to sound informal and unprofessional, but you also would not want to come across as overly formal and stern. Try to pick a communication style that matches the tone of the message you're trying to communicate. Another thing to keep in mind is the tone, or emotion, of your message. It can easily happen that we unintentionally communicate an emotion like anger or frustration by using specific words that are associated to those feelings. It is important to be mindful of your own emotions and the potentially emotional words that you are using when communicating with others. Focus on specific topics. When you're composing an email, you can also consider topics that you can use as the basis of your message. There are a lot of different topics that businesses can choose from, and depending on your audience, you can choose to focus on a specific type of job seeker or industry segment. For example, if you're a service company looking for support staff, you might want to choose topics that appeal to job seekers who are looking for a new job. Depending on the type of business you're in, you can also pick topics that appeal to a specific segment of your customer base. For example, a homeschool tutoring business can pick topics that appeal to parents. Also, remember, to communicate effectively, you need to be good at active listening, message delivery, and asking for feedback. These are some of our favorite techniques for taking communication skills to the next level. Communication is one of the most important skills you can have in your professional career. Whether you're a business person, educator, or healthcare provider, effective communication is essential to success. And, as technology continues to evolve, the need for communication skills has never been greater. Thank you for taking the time to look at this video. We hope this helps you in your organization.